Right. There is a critical and hidden security gap at virtually every enterprise. 80% of applications in use by employees are not secured by the IdP. This has led to massive breaches at companies like MGM, UHG, TransUnion, McDonald's, and the list goes on because there is no access or authentication control, there is no auditability, and there is no automated lifecycle management in these hidden apps. Today we're going to show you within the Unixi platform how we discover these hidden risks, apply access control, and lifecycle management for anything that authenticates in the browser. So we're going to start off, let's dive right in and show you how we discover application risk, okay? Now this is done with the deployment of a cryptographic patented extension. That extension deploys to any and every browser in the company. Users cannot circumvent or disable this. Now here I'm showing you all the users that are logging into every application domain on the left side. We're going to be showing you how, whether they're using SAML, whether they're using OAuth, whether they're using passwords. And you can then see all of these hidden applications that are password-based today merely by filtering. Now I'm going to focus in on a couple of applications that we've identified here, GitHub and Monday, and show you a vulnerability map that we build for every single application. This is where we'll show you where there's MFA lacking from the application. We'll show you where SAML bypass is happening. I'm going to dive into GitHub here, and we're going to focus on residual accounts. Residual accounts are where a user has left the firm but retains access to the application. This brought down 16,000 WebEx accounts at Cisco a year ago. We'll show you dormant accounts where users are not even using the application, but you're paying for access. We'll show you things like password reuse, where users are reusing a password over and over and over again, which means the lateral attack is very easy to accomplish. We'll give you detail on any of these bubbles. We'll give you detail about who is actually doing what. We'll show you things like where users are using critically weak, easily guessable passwords. You saw this at McDonald's, where 123456 was protecting 64 million records. We'll show you shared accounts. Shared accounts are really risky for large enterprises because all you're seeing is the user, the credential that they log in with, the shared credential, but you're not seeing the individual users. We'll show you the individual users that are logging into these shared accounts. We'll show you SAML bypass. So here you see an application that actually has SAML, but half of the users are actually using passwords, right? And this is where credential theft can really hurt you. So we're going to show you all of these hidden risks, and then we're going to give you the ability to take access control to everything and deliver SSO, not SAML-based SSO, Key Derived Authentication. It's our version of SAML. Now I'm going to show you how we turn this on for a couple of applications. This is Monday.com. You can see it requires a username and password right now. We're going to convert this to Key Derived Authentication literally with point-and-click ease. We do not need to do any integration like you would for SAML. You'll see it in moments. Here's GitHub, also set up for username and password, right? Everything we do is policy-based because we integrate with the existing IdP, we skim users and groups, and we reuse those groups to deliver policy. So that which was hidden and uncontrolled is now going to be controlled. So I'm diving into building a policy for Monday.com. You're going to see the applications that are in this policy, again, all driven by groups. I'm going to go in and then set the controls for this, and literally this is how I turn it on. I literally just toggle, enable SSO, and we reconfigure the authentication flow for our KDA. You'll see that in just a moment. I could just as well add MFA, but in this case I'm only adding SSO. I'm going to hit the save button, and this is going to push the policy out to that extension. That same extension that did discovery is going to now control policy because we know who the user is at that extension level. Now I'm going to go into GitHub, and I'm going to create a policy here. I'm going to pick my groups that are going to be, and again, these are all dynamic groups. I'm going to pick my application, GitHub, and I'm going to turn on both SSO, and I'm going to enable a second factor of MFA if one doesn't exist for the application. I push that policy out. That's it. Now the user is going to be controlled by Unixi's SSO, this key-derived authentication. When we go back to the page, to Monday.com, you're going to see that the next time the user goes to log in, the page is changed. There is no password field. The user no longer has a password. They have no knowledge, control, or management of a password. They're only going to have this button, log in with Unixi. They can't be phished. They can't be socially engineered because they don't have anything. They're logged in, they're doing their work, and away they go. Now we're going to do the same thing at GitHub. Only this time you're going to see the MFA action happen. So again, next time the user comes to the page, there is no password field. There's only a login with Unixi button. This is all driven by that KDA. They click the button, and the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to be asked for that MFA. The MFA can be anything. In this case, I'm using Google Authenticator. I'm typing in my code. I'm clicking verify. The KDA action, again, this multi-key complex passphrase authentication is all happened behind the scenes. It's ephemeral. It's never stored anywhere. User has no knowledge, and nor does anyone else. Now, I did say you get true access control with this solution. And what that means is if it's not in my policy, I can't access it. I am not entitled to access Instagram here at Unixi. You'll notice there is no login with Unixi button, which gives it away. But if I had a password before the policy was pushed to me and I tried to do an end around, I'm going to be blocked from accessing this application, and I get this login restriction. This login restriction is the same thing that happens if somebody clicks a phishing link when we're deployed, because it's not known policy and the user will be blocked from accessing it. Now let's talk about lifecycle management, because I brought up residual accounts. We want to make sure that we are not allowing people to drag access along, and 40% of users do drag access after they leave a firm. We're going to go into the residual accounts. You see there are 2 of them. We're going to focus on Fred for this demonstration. And you see that Fred was deactivated in the IDP, but he hasn't yet been removed from the application. We're going to go into Figma, into the administration panel, go to the people section, and you'll see that Fred indeed has access here. All right? And that's, again, a terrible thing, because this is what, again, had the Cisco breach, the Disney breach. These all happened from ex-disgruntled employees who took action with those credentials. I'm going to go back into the console. And again, when we go back into the Unixi console, I'm going to the Figma app. That's where I'm clicking there. I'm going into the vulnerability map for Figma. I'm going to residual accounts. I'm taking you right back where you were before. And I'm opening up Fred's record just to show you again. He's deactivated in the IDP. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide to the right on this record, and you'll see an action button, delete account. This kicks off a workflow to deprovision that user. And as soon as that button's clicked, you'll see a little notification that the account request was submitted. Now I'm going to take you back into Figma. Well, what do you think should happen here? If you watch in the upper right corner, once I'm logged into Figma, you will see a little notification that the delete workflow has been completed. So as soon as we get in here, watch up in the upper right, there it is, successfully executed the delete. We go back into the people panel. I look for Fred. He's no longer there. Okay, so what you just saw is we took all of these hidden, uncontrolled applications, we discovered them, we gave you access governance and control and auditability, and we also managed the life cycle of the identity to make sure that you don't have issues like with residual accounts. Thank you very much for the time. Question?
Perfect timing. Well, I have a question. Since my team developed sign-in with Google, and we have another button when the Unixi policy is enabled, enforced. So how confusing is this for the end users? I open Figma, I see sign in with Google, sign in with, I think they have Meta now or Microsoft, I don't remember, and then sign in with Unixi. And yes, as a user, I have certain habits, my password is gone, fine. But do you see any confusion people run into with seeing now signing with Unixi?
It's a very reasonable question. The button, as you can see, is pretty prominent and can be branded. So it could say log in with Google, which again draws the user's attention to it. Now, obviously, Google, it's not a great example, but that's number one. But because we rewrite the authentication flow, we can change that page to have it look however you want it to look. But what we found is by branding it with the company name, so whatever the bank is or whatever the company is, that really draws the user's attention to it, and they get very used to it very quickly because of the prominence of it on the page, especially after they've been used to username and password. Now they see username, login button. And they tend to go right to it.
If, kind of a weird question, but do you do a discovery across all of the applications that a company may have and connect everything?
Anything that can be logged into via the browser, we are going to capture all of that information. So again, whether it's SAML, OAuth, or password-based, We're focused on the browser, but yes, we will capture all of that. And I tell you, we shock companies every single week because they don't understand the prominence of these unprotected applications. We ask them, how many apps do you have? And they say, we have 10 or 15, and we find 1,000. We have a customer sitting in the audience. We found 2,000 applications that were sitting outside of the IDP. And they're all password-based. And credential theft, 82% of intrusions are from credential theft. We want to get rid of those passwords.
That's fantastic. So you're doing discovery, you're fixing problems, connecting all the dots.
Exactly, exactly.
That's fantastic.
Any other questions?
How the application is trusting the token you are sending from your platform? Because you showed us that there was nothing done on the application side, like Monday.com.
I'm not sure. A little hard to hear the question.
So my question is like, in the demo you showed us like, in your console you did the some configuration like associating the group with the application,
Yes.
but nothing was done on the application side or like Monday.com. So
Yes.
how Monday.com is trusting the token you're sending to them from your platform?
This is a really important thing about the platform.
We have hundreds of applications, and typically, in the federation scenario, the configuration needs to be done on both the IDP and the SP side.
Yes.
So how does this work?
So
And
we are, yeah.
That's the question number one.
Okay.
And what about the legacy applications, like where they don't support any they don't support any federation?
So first of all, we don't need any federation. I'll take the second question first. For us, the only requirement is that it authenticates in the browser. It doesn't matter whether it's legacy, homegrown, or SaaS. As long as it authenticates in the browser, we can reconfigure the authentication flow. We don't require any integration with the end application. That's a really critical thing about KDA. KDA is using multiple keys in different locations to create a very complex passphrase that is substituted for the user's authentication. So from the application perspective, the application just thinks they're getting a password. They don't know that it's an 80-character long passphrase that we have created, again, through cryptography. So from the application side, they don't know. But the key is it is never stored anywhere. No one can get access to it. And because it requires keys that are in different locations, there is no single point of failure. So we've taken away all the problems with passwords, right? When you think about passwords, users can do the wrong thing, and they do all the time. They do critically weak, easily guessable passwords. That can't happen, right? Because this is something that's 80, 100, 200 characters long, all generated through cryptography and based on these multiple keys that are decentralized in different locations. So we're getting rid of the issue of phishing and social engineering and me having to manage passwords personally, right? And from the application perspective, they don't know the difference. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Rich, thank you so much.